John, if you could take the attendance and call the meeting to order.
Sure.
Thanks.
Rich Gussenberg, Sean Kimball,
Here.
Sarah Stevens Morley,
Here.
Jeff Solon, Greg Rosenblatt,
Here.
Chris Daddy, Megan Rockwell, Dennis Ryu,
Here.
Chuck Neff.
Here.
Okay, we have 5, so we have a quorum. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sarah, any public correspondence?
I have no new correspondence.
Okay, and obviously no comments from the public.
No.
No public here. Okay. So next is approval of the meeting minutes from November 21. Motion to approve the meeting minutes. Okay, Sarah, second?
Second.
Any comments, any changes? All in favor of approving the minutes from last meeting? It's unanimous. Okay, Chairman's report. Rich is out in California, busy babysitting right now, but the one item is the approved meeting schedule for 2025.
We can scooch down.
Yep.
Come in late so I can sit in the back.
I don't think we have to do anything. We discussed the meeting, and I think you put it in for next year. The next meeting is the end of last Thursday in January, as we had canceled the one for the second or the third Thursday in January. Okay, next, architects update.
Okay, so I'm sure the majority of the content for today is going to be discussing the bid openings that we had, so I'll try and be relatively brief here. In the packet update, fairly modest update, however, we did include a couple of the renderings for the vinyl signs that will be out on the construction fence representing the project. We included the think tank mission statement language in there, so overall a nice image to project to the community. The major item is we've had North End bids received and Norton bids received since the last time we met. So in addition to some of the ongoing CA for the Phase 1 work at North End and Norton, we've been participating in scope reviews. That's really the story, the update. If you look down at the meetings held portion of the update, you'll see almost since the beginning of December, daily meetings, sometimes 2, 3, 4 meetings to help participate in those scope reviews. We are collating all of the addenda into a conformed set for both plans and project manuals. This was a specific request of the building department, so those will all be distributed through the channels that you guys have all received the previous information. Look for that between now and the next meeting. I mentioned the 4x8 vinyl signs. We have also, these updates are going to start to resemble more of a construction administration summary once the full construction period kicks off. So I've included kind of a template of how we typically provide updates in a construction administration report. We're anticipating these being bi-weekly. So we'll give a summary of construction RFIs since the last report, both in the 2-week duration and the overall total. Same thing for submittals, PCOs or potential change orders. A report on the change orders, report on the applications for payment, number of meetings, number of site visits, number of bulletins, which are our contractual mechanism to make modifications to the contract. And that consists of architect supplemental instructions, proposal requests, and construction change directives. Those are the 3 contractual mechanisms to enter changes into the contract once you have an executed GMP. So there will be an updated report on those. We'll talk about MEP coordination, material selections. When we start getting into some of the interior finished submittals, we will likely check back with the district on those selections, just to make sure everything that we had sent still is the governing selection. We'll have a report on FF&E planning. Now, we're gonna go through this entire process that we just went through again for furniture, fixtures, equipment, and technology. That's one of our upcoming action items. Nothing to do right now, but we anticipate starting in the summer of 2025. We will reconstitute some working groups to go over furniture, fixtures, and technology with an idea of going through the same approval process and submission to the state around the end of next year. All to be coordinating with the opening of the school in the following summer. And then we'll have a report on action items requiring owner approval, as well as just a general report of site and building activities, along with any photographs that are there. So in terms of our next steps and takeaways, continued scope reviews for Norton. So Laurel is going to represent a couple of authorizations this evening for both North End and Norton. We by and large have gotten through all of the North End scope reviews. I said by and large, excuse me.
All the critical.
Excuse me, Laura, I said by and large. So there are a couple that we need to follow up on. And for Norton, we've gotten through the initial site and critical path scope reviews. The bulk of those are going to be happening after the holidays. So we'll continue to do those, and we'll put together a design and documentation schedule for FF&E and IT.
Great. Okay, thank you, Justin.
Yeah, Chris.
Are there any mock-ups for any areas of either the schools that we should be looking forward to, or,
So there are some masonry mock-ups, and we'll go through the list of other mock-ups per item, per specification item, but we typically look for an exterior wall assembly mock-up that includes how the building envelope goes together, how the different pieces and trades kind of marry everything together.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah.
Can you go over the FFE schedule again one more time? Like, when do we actually start that?
So the reason why FF&E and technology is a later phase is because we don't want to be buying technology items. We don't want to be buying
Stuff that'll be up.
equipment today that's going to be installed in the summer of 2026. So what we do is we go through, we basically do a pull schedule from when we want that equipment to arrive, which we know is going to be in summer of 2026 for installation. And we back off the typical lead times, bid schedule, procurement schedule to say that we want to be ordering our technology equipment or any bid items going out to bid towards the start of next year. So that means that we need to do all of our design and documentation work, set up our approvals, both similar approvals to all the previous phases, needs to go to the NGSBC first and then the BOE. And we would then anticipate going to the state we want to be going to the state at the end of 2025 so we can prep everything to be ready to go out to bid and purchase towards the beginning of 2026. And if there's, just to give you an idea of the order of magnitude, I think we have the overall project budget that you'll see. For instance, on Norton, there's a $1.2 million FF&E budget and a almost $1 million communication technology and hardware. So all told, you're talking slightly north of $2 million for those purchases for Norton, and for North End, slightly more, about 2.5.
Actually 3.5. We added the 500,000 and 500,000 to North End because we had money in the contingency.
Yep.
So it's a more robust budget.
I was just making sure of the schedule, was like, but you kind of backed that off similar to what you did
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
'Cause it's, you know, idea of having the schools done, but nothing to go in would be
Yeah.
detrimental.
Next, going through the state again.
Yeah.
Yeah, lesson learned there. I just was on, for another project, I was on FF&E, IT, and playground PCR today, of all days, with trying to get everything finalized prior to the holidays to get our letter, and it's just, yeah.
So would it be safe to say that those two items, the FF&E and the technology, since they're being bid today, based on equipment today, that those could be an expected change order? Maybe, maybe not, but not unreasonable if you see a change order come in, because they don't use this type of camera anymore, we use that type of camera, and prices have gone up, or whatever happens.
So the goal is to bid those things at this time next year, around this time next year.
Not even a big gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh.
In other words, if you were to buy a smart TV for your house, and I said you're not going to use it until the summer of 2026, you probably wouldn't buy it now. You'd probably want to buy it closer to when you're going to be installing.
Yeah, I
Because
just didn't
it's
know
gonna
if the
be a next
contractors
generation.
were being locked into
No.
a contracted amount that would become a change order.
No,
So-
all the infrastructure, all of the cabling and wiring is part of the construction project. Yeah. So.
Anything else? Construction manager at risk, the brochures. Yes, those are the brochures that were handed out Monday, or?
Yeah, the handouts, I apologize, I left those back at the office, so I do not have those on those. I did send those out. We took the comments that this committee gave us at the last meeting, we incorporated those comments. We also added a map to the back of the Norton Good Neighbor Policy handout that shows kind of our construction egress route from North Brooksville, down Farmington, I think it's Farmington Road to Sharon, or Farmington Drive to Sharon Drive, and into our construction site. So those will go out to all the, Rich Gussenberg has reviewed those and was happy with those. So he, authorized us to proceed with those. Those will be handed out once we get over the new year and prior to us getting on site and starting. Our superintendents for each project will walk the neighborhood and deliver those good neighbor handouts to every house that abuts the properties that we are going to be, whether it's across the street or, abuts the properties that, for both schools.
Okay, thanks. Equipment status? The update on the panels, I
Yep.
guess?
So we've had some back and forth with the design team. There was a second round of submittals that came back with Verizon Resubmit. There were some questions issued by Square D. We had a meeting yesterday, Justin? Yep, we had a meeting yesterday with Colaronin, Tecton, O&G, Square D / Snyder, and Gray Bar, who is actually the vendor, will provide those. They'll procure them from Square D. Our production slot is held. We are working out a few changes that occurred between the Phase 1 drawings and the Phase 2 drawings that may or may not have a small amount of cost to them. I think we had a pretty good meeting yesterday and resolved most of the issues. There's a couple more we're following up on. But over the Christmas holidays, I will be working with the team at Gray Bar and Colaronin. There are parties on both sides that will be working the full Christmas holiday as well as myself, except for obviously Christmas Day and New Year's Day. And we are going to work to get those submittals finalized so that we can get them approved and released in the early part of the new year. But they have confirmed to us that they are holding our spot, so we are not incurring any delay or extension of the original schedule on these. I think there's just a lot of parts and pieces with these boards, and we want to get them right before we release them into production. So that's where we stand on that. They are working on putting together any pricing changes that they see for added panels. I think there was a couple boards that were added, so there will be small change order. Well, a change order, I don't know how small, but it will be a change order that will be presented to this committee that we will need to approve in the January meeting to release those final couple of boards that are not included in the original contract.
There's a Phase 1 allowance of $20,000 per bid package to account for any modifications between what was issued in Phase 1 and what is issued in Phase 2. Our assumption is that we anticipated that there would be some modest changes to the panel boards, and that's what that allowance
Right.
at least
Correct.
our
Yes.
opinion.
So it's
Correct me
not
if I'm
necessarily
wrong.
gonna be a change order, it's gonna be
Right.
just a proposal that we're looking for permission to use the allowances that we carried in the current GMP, so.
And these are changes from progression of design, not
Yes.
because of things that we discussed and
No, there is a potential change order for the surge protection devices that is approximately in line of what we had discussed earlier. So that is a request from this committee for us to issue a proposal request. These are just simple progression of, finalization of designs.
Anything else on equipment? Questions? Okay, phase 2 bids. Laurel?
Okay. So as was mentioned, on the 26th, we received the site concrete and steel from North End. On the 3rd of December, we received the majority of everybody. The only exception was bid package 2.08, which was a windows curtain wall storefronts contractor. They had received some glazing clarification, so the factory needed more time to price things. So that one bid got delayed until the 10th. We scrambled to do site scope reviews for site concrete and steel for North End, as well as, if you remember, I wanted to do the major trade contractors, the large trade contractors, so that by the time Norton came in, people would kind of know who might be getting the bigger contracts. So we scoped about half of the bid packages so far on North End. We're gonna need to finish going through the list after the holidays. But we're kind of doing everything in tiers of importance. So the first is site concrete and steel, so we get the building going. The next is gonna be our MEP trades, as well as our food service, because the rough-in for the food service equipment is extremely important. General trades is important because there are we need elevator shaft information. So we're targeting, we've got a small group for tonight, which is really site concrete and steel for both projects. However, North End, there's 2 more trade packages that we feel comfortable with, so I presented them for tonight. So there's 5 for North End, and there's 3 for Norton, which I'll get into. So in the meantime, while we're rushing, getting through the, that important group of North End, now the bids for Norton came in. So on Monday, site concrete and steel came in. We rushed and went through that scope review, and then all the rest of the bids came in yesterday, which we did nothing about as far as the remainder of the bids. We just wanted to concentrate on the site concrete and steel, knowing that after the holidays, we will continue with the Norton. So the idea is tonight, we have our presentation of who we'd like to get approved tonight. And then we are, as a project team, we're gonna be spending the first full week of January after the holiday, and then the Monday, Tuesday. We have 5 full days slotted to get through the next major portion for both schools that will keep us on schedule. They're the critical guys that we need to keep us on schedule. And then we're gonna continue doing the scope reviews for both projects. And I was thinking of a Monday, Wednesday, I'll figure it out with Laurel and Allison if it works for them. I was thinking Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all the way until we get through everybody, because we still got a lot more meetings to go through. So there's still a lot of work to do, but we made a lot of progress just in the last time since we met. So what I have is I have 2 packets. I have one for North End and I have one for Norton. And every packet that you're gonna get, it's gonna start with the last cost estimate that you would have seen. That will show you what our budget is. And then there's going to be, I guess I'll start passing it around. Just go half that way. This is North End and then we'll do Norton. That'd be easy just to look at one at a time. So this is the one that we're looking for 5 contracts. And both packets are the same, just different percentages. So the top is our last cost estimate, and attached to that, you'll see at the bottom where we took so in the case of North End, this estimate was the one that showed we were on budget. In other words, if everybody I don't know if everybody remembers, I did bring the one of our last true construction documents estimate. Our last true construction documents estimate for North End had us at about $1.3 million under budget, if anybody remembers that. But we have the whole entire budget to deal with, right? That's what's at our, I don't want to say at our disposal, but that's what I used. So now I went to the state submission estimate, because that's the North End estimate that was on budget. So if we take the trade contract value plus the design contingency, plus the escalation, right? That's what we spend for the trades in order to be on budget. So you'll see that total at the bottom, $67,995,965. Now you flip this page over, and you will see, right under apparent low bidder column at the bottom, North End construction budget, $67,995,965. I have some asterisks on this sheet.
It's on the larger page.
Which page?
The larger
Sorry,
page.
This page that's attached to.
Okay, I used to flip over, I thought you meant the back.
Oh, sorry, the big page.
Got it, big page.
All right, so
got it.
here's our budget at the bottom of the apparent low bidder column. That's our budget, that's what we're comparing to, okay? So we have base bid amount, and I'll explain the asterisks in a second. And you're gonna see there's a 61,976, and then we have these two alternates. One, which is the ceilings. Two, which in the case of North End is the pre-K sand clay canopy structure. So at the bottom, you'll see the total of what those two are worth, and then you add them together. And when you when you grab everything across, we have a total of $62,139,021. This is just a snapshot of today, okay? Because I had said I'm gonna give you the overall financial picture of where we are. So 62,139,029, and you will see that there was a savings there of about 5,856,944 overall right now for North End. That's good, okay? Now, I have asterisks in here where we're indicating second bidder because we have not fully vetted. I have concerns with the low bidder for whatever reason. So for now, we'll see how it shakes out because we didn't even scope them yet. But I'm carrying the second bidder of Steel Tech. I'm not sorry. That's actually the third bidder. So with the next packet, these are all the bid results. So you can kind of do a side by side to see where things work. So in the case of Steel Tech, which is right on page 1 of 8, you'll see they're actually third bidder because we think the first two are not carrying the proper product. So we didn't scope them yet. So I've stuck their number in. And then if you flip up to 2.07F, fire stopping, we only got 2 bids. One's down at 38.6. Again, I didn't talk to them yet, so for now, I'm carrying the 163. And then if you go down, the only other one that was crazy as far as numbers go is if you go down to, on page 6 of 8, electrical. Here's our Wayne J. Griffin at $3,250,000, and then we have Ferguson Electric Company at $3,942,000, and then it goes up from there. Now we have scoped both Wayne J. Griffin and Ferguson Electric. As of this moment in time, as I sit right here, because it's been going back and forth, Wayne wants the job, so I'm gonna have to scope him again because we already had one scope review, so we're gonna have to follow up with him. But we will be prepared by the 16th of January to present the electrical contractor, so this has to be resolved, okay? But for now, I'm carrying Ferguson just because I'm not trusting the $3,250,000, and there's a significant difference, there's $700,000, so for now, this is where we are at. So this is the overall where things are landing. These are the bid results that we had received. Not too many withdrew or like one was non-responsive in 2.27. So of the bids that we received, most of them stood up, held up. We did get a couple of combos, but in all these cases, none of the combos were cheaper than the pure low base bids, just a few combos. And there was a protest by J&B Mechanical Contractors. They actually gave formal paperwork to, was it the town? Who got that paperwork from J&B? They handed it to somebody.
They handed it to me.
Okay, so they've protested, yeah, they've protested the way that Ferguson prepared a combination bid. So I haven't vetted that just because we've been working on other things. So that's another thing that we'll be concentrating on over the next month and being prepared for the plumber to be resolved between now and the 16th. So more to come on that. So here's the cost summary, here's our bid results, and then the last packet is the 5 contractors that we are looking for approval on. It's concrete, and it's structural steel, and it's drywall, because our drywall contractor is fully vetted. They have all our doors, frames, and hardware, so, and cold form metal framing, which is the whole outside of the building. So since we've we've scoped them, and they've got the job covered. There's no reason really not to release them. Those are all long lead items, so it's good to get a jump on that. And the last one is, general trades. And again, they have the elevator, and then site work, which is 2.31, is Richards. Richards is low on both. They were our phase one contractor.
Well, they did phase one.
They did phase one on both, and they're low on both. North End and Norton.
Hey, Laurel,
Yes.
when we look down here, you saw the 67 million and the 61 change. Where does contingency fit in there? Do all of the bids have the contingencies in there, or?
No.
So the $5 million difference, that's our contingency?
Yes.
That would, if we awarded all those contracts, we'd be giving you back
Yep.
for your contingency.
Yep.
That 5.7 already.
Right.
But if we hit budget, if we were at 67,995 dead on, where's the contingency?
Okay,
5%.
flip back to the front page, flip back to the front page. There's still a CMR contingency, if you go back on page 1. See how you have the CM contingency?
No, I'm not even there, I'm trying to find it, sorry.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, right here, right on the front sheet. there.
Oh, yeah, what's the front?
So see the
Under the se-
see the
under the second box.
67,995,965 at the bottom?
Yeah.
That's just the trade number. So after all that, forget about that number, you still have the CM contingency and you have your owner's side. You still have your owner contingency, that's not even on this sheet.
Your owner's contingency is $5.4 million. That's outside of all of the, that's above all of the numbers that
And
were.
that's where the 5, and I saw a 5 and the
Yeah,
difference,
yeah.
and I was
It's
like,
not the
well,
same
are
number.
we saving, or is that just our contingency? So,
Yeah.
No.
okay, it's
Yeah.
It's in
understood.
addition to.
Additional savings.
Savings would go right through that.
No, I just didn't know where it was built in here, so I get that. The other question I had for you, I don't know if this sounds silly or not, but I have two questions. Number one is, are the contractors that we're looking at and we're thinking about voting on, are they contractors that, I don't know what the right word is, you guys like working with or have good experience with them, that you guys wouldn't have reservations working with?
Yeah, we wouldn't be
How to
recommending.
say
That's
it
a great question to ask in a public meeting, Chris.
Yeah, we don't have any concerns, that's why we were recommending them. Out of all these contractors, W.J. Mountford is a concrete contractor. There's, I don't want to say sister company, it's actually the wife's company, is M.T. Ford. Same, this is Scott Mountford. M.T. Ford just finished Farmington with us. Okay, so it's just another one. United Steel just finished Farmington High School with us. GDS just finished Farmington High School with us. Scope Construction just finished Farmington High School with us.
Now,
And
did all of those during Farmington High School make you want to jump off a cliff or stick
I didn't have to listen.
snake knife in the back of your head, or?
No,
you know, I mean,
they're all,
I get it, and thank you for helping me as usual with my communications. I wouldn't have it any other way, Justin. But I'm just trying to make sure these are, you guys are the A-team, and we want to make
Right.
sure that the rest of it you feel is the A-team. I
Right,
guess
right.
is what I'm looking at.
Cool.
Or there's nothing that you see huge reservations with, or maybe you would have
That's why,
tried to
that's
vet
why
that,
I'm holding
otherwise-
off on these other people.
with this
We're still
group, we're very
working.
comfortable with.
So,
I've
yeah.
worked with most of these contractors, and they are all very good contractors.
So, yeah, the reservations that we have are some other ones that we're not prepared to ask you to take any action on, but these are the ones that we've vetted.
And any issues with any contractors, I'm kind of way down down beyond this now, but any experiences that some of us may have with change orders turning into the Wild West, you guys are first line of defense on that, right? You're always looking out for our interests? Okay. Because I see several names that change order comes in, say it's $10,000, you say, well, wait a minute, that's not this, that's that, could you recalculate, and then you get penalized, and now it's $15,000, and it progresses that, and it's been on several jobs, the Wild West, and I just want to make sure that's,
So
I could forget that, because that's your job to make sure that's in line.
You can absolutely forget that. We any change order that comes in is going to be fully vetted by my team first. What we call bloodied up, red line. We'll go through and put our thoughts to it, and then I will share it with the design team for their additional comments and thoughts, We will then go back to the contractor and negotiate to get to where we feel it needs to be before we ever bring it to this committee for approval.
Now, you probably should consider, and the way I wrote the letters, the only one that the alternate is affecting, there's two alternates, is Richards. And the way that I wrote it is if you did accept it, I was being very presumptive, but you guys should take formal action on whether or not you're gonna award or accept alternates 1 and 2. You can certainly afford it. It will determine who our low bid acoustical contractor is, because when you do the math, the one that I'm showing here is low because of the alternate by, I don't know, it's like $300, so. But somebody switches because of the alternate, so you should consider, you should make it a formal motion whether or not to accept the 2 alternates.
Are we not doing acoustical tonight?
We're not doing acoustical.
What's the ceiling? What item number?
It's 2.09A, 2.09A acoustical, it's Econ Acoustics and H-Car. So H-Car is the low bid on the base bid, but because of the alternate.
So as a reminder of what that alternate is, in some select areas, we have a linear wood panel ceiling in lieu of a conventional acoustical panel ceiling. And these are at the, say, the ends of hallways in our breakout spaces, et cetera.
Yeah, does that matter tonight, though? We're not approving.
Well,
it,
the
right?
thing is, if you're gonna award alternate 2, because it is Richard's contract, it's one of the contractors where we're gonna get approved. If you put it in with their contract, it's not a change order, right? Once you start writing change orders, now you're going against your 5% clock
I
with the
got that.
state.
That's alternate number 2. We're just talking about alternate number 1. That doesn't really matter, right?
No,
We could
but
hold
I
off
mean,
on voting on that.
That's what I'm getting
okay,
at.
yeah, you
That's
could,
next week.
I just don't know why you would, but. You
Just the
could.
way they were.
So okay, so we're talking about 2 different alternates. The acoustical alternate is alternate number 1. Alternate number 2 is the canopy structure, exterior canopy structure over the sand play area for the pre-kindergarten. So that's why it's a site number.
So site work contractor wouldn't see alternate number 1.
Correct.
That's what I'm getting at.
It took me a minute too, because I was like,
Right.
where's alternate number 1?
So that play structure is the 114,000.
Correct.
And it's not a play structure, it's a
Just
canopy
the
structure.
canopy over structure.
I think typically why Laurel's asking for this now is, when we write into our contracts, we typically write in alternate 1 and 2 accepted in everybody's contract, whether or not it applies to them.
Right,
So that would be the reason why she's asking it, she brought that up today.
right.
Well, and it does sound like it does affect low bids,
So that too.
so I think it is important for us to, and I kind of feel like it's a no-brainer to accept both since the numbers are ever in our favor, and they might not be for long.
Would that be an argument not to accept them if they're gonna be there for long?
Well, it's like, it's just for this building, right? And this is the building that we've always had, like, more wiggle room with, in general.
If you're trying to spend everything in your wallet, yes. But if you're not, then it's not really wiggle room. You're just spending it because we wanted some fancier acoustic panel than, otherwise. But if the budget was close and we would be okay with one acoustical panel, then why aren't we okay with it if we,
Well,
even though we have other money?
I think it lends an aesthetic to the building
Yeah.
that we'll
I'm-
never regret not having.
I'm not okay with the alternate. I think it's not nice. I would, that's my feeling about it. I think it would be a mistake to not go with the guidance of our architects on the design. Personally.
Well,
As much as it
but
hurts,
this-
I would agree with you.
but to say that, if we didn't give them a budget at all, this would be a $3 billion project for the Taj Mahal of schools, so you still gotta pull back and look
I
at
don't
that.
think if we gave our architects $3 million, they would give us the Taj Mahal.
If you didn't have a budget, if you had $3 billion?
No.
$3 billion, they would do a good job.
I'm sorry. I just wanna put in here that there is like a plan, right? Like they have followed our educational specs, and this is what they proposed for our educational specs. So, I don't think they would build us a Taj Mahal if we gave them a $3 million budget.
I think part of it too
It was a
is
B.
we're putting a lot of emphasis on the front of the building, you know, as you walk in, the approach, the entrance, the feeling that you get when you're around the media center or not. And to me, not doing that alternate means that we're cheapening the back of the building to save money,
No, I
which
agree.
we really have.
That's, I get it, and I mean, I have my feelings on it. I say, who are we actually building the school for? And are those clients of ours, those 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds, are they gonna have a better experience in a school with that ceiling versus the other ceiling?
Yes.
I think they will.
I think they will too. I 100% believe in the quality of the built environment to affect education. As an educational person, someone that works in education.
I couldn't tell you what ceiling was in any school or I've ever been in or building I was in today.
Well, as a teacher in the classroom, when our classrooms are ugly, or when they have, when it shows that corners have been cut, it really affects the morale in the classroom. And I feel like
what you're making it sound like we're trying to put a cardboard ceiling in there, when really, it sounds like you weren't okay with the alternate to begin
I'm
with.
not okay with
right?
the alternate, honestly.
But you voted for it to be an alternate.
Yeah,
If it was
because-
never gonna be an alternate, then we should've just saved the money on the beginning, on the front.
But I would have been outvoted. I was outvoted.
Just because you're outvoted doesn't mean you vote one way or another.
We made it an alternate because we did not know that if we were gonna be under budget.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, do you have pictures of what this looks like one way versus another, or no?
Not with us tonight, no. But yes, we do. And this was a schematic design alternate.
I think it started with Norton, and I think
Yeah.
it carried over to North End. It was like, things that we were trying to save on Norton, we had to have parity, right? Okay, well, if we're gonna do it here, we're gonna do it there, type of thing. And I think it trickled into North End because of what we were doing at Norton.
You got the 2 people that are engineers and the 2 people that are more aesthetic. I mean, that's what
Yeah,
it comes down to.
tiebreaker.
Right. That's what it comes down to. It's just the way we're built.
What would Rich do?
Do we have to decide this tonight, though?
No, you don't have to decide the
the
ceilings. I thought it would be
The
an easy
canopy,
one, but
we have to decide
apparently
the
not.
Thanks, Laurel.
You gotta decide on the alternate too, though. You should
Right,
decide.
so maybe we should focus on the canopy structure.
Canopy is
Yeah.
more-
Make more sense.
I also believe in the canopy structure and having that.
It's just more functional, ain't it? Does it keep the sand dry? No.
Yeah.
it
Is it? Are they gonna play out there in the wet sand anyway? Probably not.
So if we don't vote on the alternate for the ceiling,
If you don't vote on the alternate, then it gets awarded at base bid, and if you decide to add it in later, it's a change order,
right, which counts against our,
5%.
right.
And then the 114,000 is only good for 90 days anyhow, from November 26th. So it'll be more expensive.
Well, we can vote on the changed alternate too, no?
Yes.
That's what we're doing, yeah. I think that's where.
Let's do that.
How big is the canopy structure? I don't remember.
30 by 20 or so. It was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's bigger, yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
size of a
To cover this.
common house in Cheshire.
It's a freestanding canopy that is not unlike some of the exterior structures that are currently at Darcy. as part of
Similar
the-
to what they have today.
Yeah.
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 Well, how far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It was,
Yeah, it's like the
So-
size of this room.
so everybody understands what the genesis of this was. This was a specific request by the educators
Okay.
as we were going through review of the playscapes, particularly of this area for the pre-kindergarten.
It's fine. It's not one go for a canopy.
Yeah, it's, rain always falls vertically.
Well, that too, yeah.
I'm good with the canopy. First.
So I guess what are we gonna do, a motion on each contractor? Is that the best way to proceed?
We should do a motion for the alternate. which
Well,
is
Alternate
what-
two, right?
If we do, are we voting that the alternate is in contract and we are gonna build it, or just the alternate is accepted in their bid and we can still decide that we don't wanna do it, and then that money just comes out of the contract
I think we're accepting it, yeah.
to do it?
Yeah.
Right.
You're writing a contract for them to do
Just
that.
a question, guys, just a question.
But if we defer on alternate one to whatever the bid is, that includes alternate one, is that one you absolutely need today, or can that
No,
go to the 16th?
that's not even in the next round, that's
Oh,
in
okay.
the,
So-
that's in a
We got
later
to-
round.
Yeah,
But,
so you can bring
but
pictures.
I
yeah.
should know, because it depends on who I'm writing into the GMP, right? 'Cause it's gonna matter whether or not you wanna do that, so.
I thought it was like carrying an
It probably
allowance.
should be decided on later next month or something,
Right.
so
I think
before
so.
we're
Yep,
trying to
yeah.
finalize the GMP.
So we can get past without dealing
Yeah.
with alternate one today.
Yes.
If there's a way to have pictures or something at the next meeting,
Right.
just one more time, I gotta refresh my memory on the acoustic tile. Yeah. So,
Which
if we
is
can
the
do that at the,
16th, yeah, it can wait
Mhm.
then.
okay.
So I guess we take your package, we make a motion on each one individually.
Yes, with the amount, the bid package, the person and the amount.
Okay, and I drafted up, I don't know if we want to use this, but a template to make all the motions consistent, so.
Good for all of us.
Oh, a couple, yeah, you may have to share, but, just so the motions are consistent in language. We don't have to use this, but I think it covers what we need. Yeah.
There we go. Here, we can
And some of them may not be exact, it was just taking out of notes, but just the format, if we use that
Yeah.
as a format, we should be all right.
That's beautiful.
Yep. Oh, thanks. So the first one is concrete bid package 2.03 for the North End School. Motion for WJ Mountford and Company.
So moved.
Or you should say the amount.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah.
So, I'll read it. I will second this motion to move that WJ Mountford Company of South Windsor, Connecticut be awarded bid package 2.03 for concrete for the new North End Elementary School as the lowest qualified bidder in the amount of $1,975,000.
Second, you second.
I'll
Yep.
second. I'll second.
Then the next one,
Don't we have to vote?
oh, we have to vote, I'm sorry. All those in favor? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, unanimous. Oh, opposed? Unanimous. Okay, second bid package 2.05S, structural steel for the North End Elementary School. Motion to approve United Steel Incorporated.
I'll move that United Steel Incorporated of East Hartford, Connecticut be awarded bid package 2.05S for structural steel for the new North End Elementary School as the lowest qualified bidder in the amount of $3,093,000.
Second? Second?
Second, all in favor? Opposed? Nope, it's unanimous. Okay, number 3, is there a motion to accept GDS Contracting Corporation for bid package 2.09D drywall? I don't know if you have that on there, but you'd have to use just a template.
Oh, no.
Got the letters, well,
Yeah, where's my letter? Oh. Okay, so I'll move that, here we go. GDS Contracting Corporation be awarded bid package 2.09D for drywall in the amount, as the lowest for the new North End Elementary School as the lowest qualified bidder in the amount of $6,415,000.
Second, motion?
Sure.
Okay. All in favor?
Oh, yeah.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Next one, motion for Scope Construction Company, be awarded bid package 2.10 for general trades. Is there a motion, please?
Yep. Look at my letters.
Go ahead, you're on a roll.
No, this is the 2.27.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I will move that Scope Construction Company be awarded bid package 2.10 for general trades for the new North End Elementary School as the lowest qualified bidder in the amount of $2,227,000.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments, or what would that cover, or what do general trades cover?
They have a lot of the miscellaneous, they got lockers, they've got the elevator, they got cleanup,
Basketball
construction
That's
cleanup.
not that.
We got all the gymnasium equipment, whatever.
Dumpsters, toilets,
Everything else.
Yeah, bunch of stuff,
toilet partitions.
fire
fixtures.
extinguishers.
Gotcha, okay. All in favor of accepting general trades for bid package 2.10? Opposed? It's unanimous. Next one is
One more?
Richards Corporation, bid package 2.31 for site work, including alternate 2, pre-K sand play canopy structure. So it would be $9,851,073 plus $114,000.
Which is
So there it is, right, yeah.
For $9,965,073.
Right, so is there a motion to accept Richards Corporation?
Yeah. I'll move that Richards Corporation of Terryville, Connecticut be awarded bid package 2.31 for site work. Do I say now including at alternate 2?
Yeah,
I would
'cause that's-
mention it.
Yeah,
that's why we're-
including at alternate 2 pre-K sand and play canopy structure. As the lowest qualified responsible bidder in the amount of $9,965,073, which includes alternate number 2.
Right, any discussion? All in favor? Oh, wait, is there a second? I'm sorry, second?
Oh.
Second, Dennis, yeah. All in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous.
No,
It's
third
not.
one,
Oh.
got it, I got it.
Sorry, where do I, yep.
Five.
Should be 5-1, right. That's Sean over there too.
I said yes.
I have Norton to go through. All right,
This is the way it goes.
welcome to my world, do everything twice. Same thing for Norton, I'll walk you through the info.
Who's going to do about this? Who's going to do about twice? Didn't you guys say you wanted that?
Well, it's that time of year, we check everything twice.
That's true.
Yeah, right?
Okay, so same thing, we have, construction documents estimate, last estimate that we did for Norton. If you look, we have the trade total of 57,075, the design contingency, the escalation comes up with this 58,477,599. If you flip this over, this last estimate that Bruce did, we were just slightly under budget. So that is what, see how it's 7,585 under with this number? So that's why it doesn't exactly tie out to the 50, if you go to the bottom of apparent low bidder on the big spreadsheet, 58,484,750. Okay, that's to be on budget. Okay, so this is on budget. What are the trades need to come in order to be on budget? So, so here's our spreadsheet. So after that is our bid tab sheets. These are all draft. These have not been vetted. That's why it's draft over everything. These are raw bids received, was it last night?
Yes, just for the evening.
So raw bids that have not been vetted yet, as far as checking them to the proposals and making sure that everything is all hunky-dory. That's why everything is a draft. And because we had a bunch of alternates for the, you can't even read this, but if you see it electronically, you can blow it up and look at it. These were all those alternates, remember, for dealing with the PCBs, we said bid it clean, and then there's all these little ads. So don't strain yourself trying to look at the numbers. When you get this electronically, you'll be able to zoom in. What I will tell you about the alternates for abatement, if you remember, our strategy was keep the PCB disposal in the estimate. When we were doing our estimate, we said we're gonna keep it in, but we were gonna peel it off and bid it all as ad alternates, so that we're not just getting the higher number off the bat. Now, it's really hard to see, so you don't need to look at it. When you go all the way across, if we took the worst case scenario, and we did have a quick meeting with Eagle Environmental today, just to make sure we were all on the same page. It's the third column from the right. It says accepted alternates, and you didn't accept them, I'm just saying, if we were to accept these are all the worst case scenarios of PCBs greater than 50, which we're not gonna know until we test the building. So first we have to wait for the children to vacate the building, then we're gonna test it. Then we're gonna test the building, and then, depending on the PCB concentrations, is how it gets disposed of. And so we're in theory trying to lock the disposal costs in now for something that we're gonna need in 2 years. So the 3B, the 4B, the 5B, the 6B, the 7B, the 8B, the 9, 10, and 11 is our worst case scenario, we'll call it. So again, you don't need to read the numbers, because I did bring that worst case scenario forward onto the 11 by 17 sheet. And again, I'm just giving you a snapshot. I'm not asking you to approve anything. You don't do anything with it. I'm just giving worst case scenario. So you'll see under 2.02 abatement and demo, that's representing the worst case scenario. So same thing, we had the alternate 1, we have an alternate 2, we have this other thing that is the 1.6 million with our budget of $58,484,750. If we were to include all of these alternates, you still are under by $1,930,579. This is where we are as of right now, just assuming that this is gonna be held. The problem with this abatement is you don't know if you're gonna need it until you're done with the building. So it's like I don't wanna say skim, but let's set it aside so that you have it in case you need it. But do whatever you want. That's just our recommendation. But we're not talking about accepting it now, I'm just showing as if it was, and that's your financial picture if we were to set it aside.
But you're gonna write it as if you don't have to, only if it's needed.
Yes,
So
what I
that's
would
an important
recommend when the
distinction.
time comes, again, this is a whopper of a change order if you don't award it with a trade contract. But we would write it in so that if the owner, if it tests that they don't need it, these come back as pure credits, like you'll get it all back at the end. Unless you wanna write a change order for 1.6 million, but that's a big no.
So basically, when we turn over Norton to you guys, to the school, for them to move in the summer of '26, and the existing Norton school is vacated completely, Eagle Environmental will come in, they will do their additional testing. Once the students are completely out of the building, those test results will tell us whether or not we need any, some, or all of these alternates. If at that time, they come back and say you need none of these alternates, then we write a credit back to the project for the entire amount of the alternates. That all comes back to you. If they say you need alternates, 2B, 3B, and 9, then those are the only alternates you pay for.
That
All
will
the rest
stay
of
in.
them come back to you
Right.
as a credit. If we need all of them, you're already covered, no change order. And this way, if the pricing goes up between now and the fall of '26, you still get today's pricing.
Right.
Whereas the vice versa, when we did with the FF&E, you want to wait. Now, not today, but in the near future, you want to approve these now so you lock in the best pricing, because it will go up over time.
So that's really a not to exceed.
Yes.
Correct. You can look at it like that.
And there
yeah.
will be a reconciled change order, we just don't know how much would, you're not gonna, chances are you're not gonna spend it all, right? Not everything's gonna be greater than 50, maybe it is, who knows, but. And the whole point is, we didn't want this extra money to be sitting there, oh, let's spend it, while you're building a new building, thinking you may need it. You may need that. So this financial picture, again, these bids just came in. I'm not even able to do asterisks, because the only people we talk to is Site Concrete and Steel, so these people, we don't even have asterisks here. So these are just your pure lows right now, and again, we're showing approximately 1,930,000 under budget. They're flipping through the bid results. Some of them are kind of low, but there wasn't a lot that was, that's why I didn't bother with the second bidders. Like, the one that kind of struck out to me was, maybe the waterproofing, but it's like 50,000. The painter seems like a low bid painter, seems like he may have missed something. He's only 298 to 342. I don't know, but I didn't bother adjusting it because we didn't really have time to digest these numbers yet. But if you look at who your low is to your second, there's really not a lot of big dollars there. I mean, I guess you could say there is for HVAC. And DiRienzo is one of the contractors we'll be interviewing. So it's one on the yellow list. It's not green, but somebody needs to be checked. In that case, there's a couple $100,000 below the second bidder there. So, like we received a lot more site bids. In some cases, we received quite a bit more bids. Again, same scenario as North End. None of the combination bids were cheaper than the pure low bids. And for tonight, we only have site concrete and steel. And here we go again with the alternate. So, alter number 1 is the ceilings. I don't think the ceiling one matters here. I think H-Card was low no matter what. Yeah, he was low and he stayed low. Okay, so the ceilings is not important here. But it's the same question with the alternate too. You can either put it in now and if you don't need it, take it out.
What is alternate 2?
Alternate number 2 was that, it's under
Site
site.
work, the parking lot.
Very end.
15,000?
Site parking.
48,850. It's for the,
Sorry, I shouldn't round up.
yeah, that's okay. It's the temporary parking lot, which, it's just a gravel lot.
Well, it's 250.
Yeah. Nice gravel.
But that's that final number that's a lot lower than the first number we had kicked around for.
Right, because the first number had pavement.
Right.
So are you looking for us to make any motions on any of these tonight?
Concrete, yeah, that's the final part. You should have 3 little letters there. Concrete, different contractor.
He's been qualified also, Laura?
Yep, we met with him, we met with this different steel guy, but the same site contractor, so there's just 3 here.
Other than Richards, it doesn't look like there's maybe a couple others that appear to be low for both, but. not
Yeah,
any
Young
much.
Developers is, I don't wanna say screaming low, but they're very low on both jobs. Another one we have to qualify.
Yes, please.
Yes, agreed. But other than that, no.
Ferguson's second on Norton, he's low,
Yeah.
on North End.
I can make
We'll
a
make
second.
sure that we do a thorough
Is there
scoping
any-
there
We
as
have
well.
different masons,
Can I ask a question about the masonry?
sure.
Is there, do you have a sense of why there's a much bigger spread on the north end versus, north end versus Norton?
Okay, hold on.
So like, Norton goes from about 2 million to 2.3, but on North End, it spreads from 2.6 to 3.5, so almost $1 million.
Okay, so North End is 2.6 up to 3.5, and Norton is 2 million up to 2.3.
So it seems like so much closer.
Oh, you're talking about the tightness of the bids.
Yeah, like, does it mean
Oh,
anything?
you discount, you can technically discount the high bids most of the time.
Okay.
So you're basically spreading from 2.6 to 3.
So that, that's, okay, that makes more sense.
When you have, sometimes you have these out of
Yeah.
left field.
I would also say the losing bidders on North tightened up their numbers for us on
Okay.
Norton to get the job.
Right.
You can see, that's why you see much tighter in the,
Yeah, you see
That
how
makes so much
Connecticut
sense, thank
Mason
you.
was second, and we scoped him.
Yeah.
We scoped both him and Connecticut Mason, or
CT.
CT Masons on North End, and now he came in low on Norton.
That makes so much sense. I appreciate that explanation.
Is Richards big enough to handle
It's just not
both?
spelled out.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally different.
And we don't have complicated, we're digging for the buildings, and they're shallow footings, there's nothing crazy going on with the site. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of digging, but it's just having the machinery and the operators.
And if you look at the big things like paving, very different timeframes. We're gonna be paved at North long before we do most of the paving at Norton, because that happens after the building gets taken down. You know, we're gonna do our major site, underground, electrical, and so all the excavation for that will happen early at North End. Doesn't happen till this summer at Norton. So, you know, again, different crews, they have all the iron that they would need as far as equipment, and they have a huge yard of equipment. They're like ONG, they have tons and tons of pieces of equipment, and they have a very good crew, so I have no concerns about their ability to perform both jobs. And I know that they are lean on work right now, so they were hungry to get some jobs so that they could, you know, keep their guys busy.
Yeah, we had a good site turnout on Norton. Yeah, I was a little surprised at North End, but I didn't really extend the bid date for too long. I wanted them in before Thanksgiving, and that might have did it. Again, I was trying to keep that spread, that distance between the two schools, and I'm being backed up against Christmas, so, maybe that will do that.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Not to do estimating.
So we just have the two.
So, is there a proposal or motion to accept for bid package 2.03 concrete, Ralph Computera with Sun Excavating?
Does anyone else want to read the script?
No, you can do it.
Okay. All right, I'm on it. I will move that the bid package 2.03 for the new Norton Elementary School be awarded to Ralph Camputaro and Son Excavating in the amount of $1,710,800.
Second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Say 5-1?
Oh, who was that? Chris. Nay. Yeah.
Shall we keep going?
Yep.
Then I will move that bid package 2.05S structural steel for the new Norton Elementary School Phase 2 project be awarded to Steel Tech Building Products Incorporated for the contract amount of $2,982,000.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have a question. We got a $9,000 difference here. From O&G's point of view, are they both, between 1 and 2, both equally qualified?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yes. Both are very qualified, you know, both are good contractors to work with. We did scope both of them out, and had full discussions, 2-hour discussions with both contractors. They both, you know, have the project down, they understand it, and, you know, $9,000 is, you know, they obviously both saw it pretty much the same way, so.
Did you guys scope United on Norton or not?
We did not.
It's strange, they're the only one that's, the school's obviously smaller than the Norton. They're the only one that's actually higher for the Norton steel than they are the North End. They're the low bidder on the North End for like 300,000 or 150,000 less, right? 70,000 less. I was just curious why.
They landed one job, they might not have been as hungry, and they figured if I can get it for that money and still be the low bidder, great, we'll do it, and that's just a guess, but a lot of times that's what you see.
Okay, any other questions, comments, or, do we have a second on, Steel Tech?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you did?
that was-
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous? Okay, next one, Richards Corporation, with the addition of alternate 2, the construction of a temporary parking.
So you have to make the motion and then.
Including alternate 2 and then.
And then
Yeah, I don't know
discuss.
if you need to have a separate motion approving alternate 2 and it's on its own right. Did you do that for North End?
And I think we incorporated it.
Okay.
We incorporated it,
Alright.
so I'll incorporate it and then we can check. Okay, so I'm gonna move that the bid package 2.31 site work for the new Norton Elementary School project be awarded to Richards Corporation in the amount of, and this includes alternate number 2, construct temporary parking, in the total amount of $9,303,914.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second, any discussion?
Just forgive me, I had a lot of things I'm forgetting. Did you say that this one would be, if for some reason we don't need parking, that this would come back, just like the environmental stuff?
We could do that, yeah, because you're not building this until July 1 or, when school, you need to make that, if you're gonna take it out, you gotta take it out at some point before we're finishing finishing the new school.
But this work will be done the second summer of '26, after we've turned over the new school. Right as that, we're turning over the new school. And the difference between the Richards on North End is that playscape and everything would have to be, all the underground, all the build, would have to be done earlier in the project. And that's why we're looking for an approval on that and not as a standalone where you could say, okay, end of the job, we don't want to spend the money, we're not gonna do it, we'll be well built on that playscape. But this is not something we'll build until after we finish the new school completely.
It no longer delays the playscape areas, right?
Correct.
Well, also, the reason why the NGSBC selected this as an alternate is because the status of the parking lot that is across the street may or may not be available, may have a different disposition at the time that you may enter into an agreement as a town to utilize that parking space. So this alternate assumes that you're providing temporary parking on-site without any off-site or across the street additional parking.
Right, but if suddenly that popped up, would we get a credit for
You
this?
could take it back as
You
long as you
should
didn't
write it
start
in
it
the
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we'll write
we
it.
will.
That was exactly
It would
my
be to
question.
the advantage of the project because you could then get the site work, establish
Right.
all the turf and the seeding in the fall of 2026 rather than the spring of
Right,
2027.
the field will be in better condition
Yes.
sooner. if
Yeah,
we
but I
get
would
it.
write something in like the owner has the right to take this deduct until, you gotta have a deadline, so I'd probably say like June 1 of 2026 or something, like, if you're not gonna do it, they gotta know by then.
Good question. You said this was so that we didn't have to do any off-site stuff, right? But
Well, this is
Todd,
not
but-
gonna give you everything for parking, you're still
That's
gonna
my
have
next
to
question.
shuttle.
Yeah.
This is only a
So this is
partial
really just to
solution.
give like 62 of the spots, but they wanted like 75 or something like that, right?
Yeah, it was,
So we'd still have to shuttle
or
anyone.
carpool, or however they're gonna do it.
So there'll be a change at some point to put that in.
Yeah, this is just buying you a space that's got gravel and striping. That's all it's buying you.
For some of the
So
parking that we need.
It may not even be what you want when you come in 2 years, you might wanna
The
change
majority,
something.
but not everything.
Yeah, it's just something, gets you something.
And from the perspective of like having to shuttle, are we gonna have, if you have to shuttle 15 people, are you gonna have a 60-person bus that's only 25% full?
Right, yeah, I don't know, I don't know what their plan would be. I don't think that's ideal. I assume more people would try to find a way to carpool or something, some other alternative. There's still a strong possibility of parking across the street, there's just not one that the town controls right now.
Do you want us to amend the motion to make this contingent, or some sort of language that the?
No, I'll just put in
Or as
June
necessary?
1st. I'll just put in, I'll put in something that says that the owner has the right to take it back until June 1, 2026.
Mhm.
And if you don't do it by then it stays in.
Because I do like having it already in this number with the opportunity to not do it if, because we really won't know for a year or more.
And again, this locks in your price for the next year and a half.
Right.
If you choose to do it, it's for this price and it's not for whatever the cost would have been a year and a half from now.
So should we put this on the open item log, just so
It
we
is on
know
the
it is?
time log.
Okay, good. It's already there, okay.
It's already there.
It's on there.
Great. Okay, any more comments, questions? All in favor of motion for Richards Corporation? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, unanimous.
The other girl.
Okay, thank you, Laurel. That moves us up to schedule update, which I guess is you too.
So schedule update, we're planning on starting on site somewhere around the 10th of January, correct?
Which school?
Both schools. We will start to mobilize that week of the 6th to the 10th. We're not exactly sure what date. We will have our, mobilized first, obviously, with site. And then we have the trailer for Norton scheduled to arrive on or around the 13th. Again, we're working with Eversource to coordinate power for that trailer, but we will utilize the house at Jarvis Street as our main office for both schools until we have that up and running. So both teams will work out of that house so that we're on, basically on site, just down the way. Our site super will be on site full time at Norton once we get contractors on there. And we're looking at, based on the bid schedule. Site work begins early January, concrete begins end of January, and steel is looking like about a May start for steel. And obviously some other activities will take place in between there. We'll start getting, once we get everybody on board on the 16th for mechanicals and whatnot with all the underground, in that time frame. So, and as Laurel mentioned, we'll be doing scope reviews all the way through January and potentially into early February to get everybody scoped and done, and then we can be ready to recommend on the 16th the next chunk of contractors, and then we'll have one more set of recommendations for all the tile, flooring, paint, some of those specialty contractors that are at the end of the job, the finishes and whatnot. So we don't need them quite yet. So.
Yeah, what I planned on doing was, so this is a separate, let's go with these trade contractors. We need to do this again on the 16th, and then the next will just be part of the GMP, like we should just finish the GMP at that point. And those trades will be in there, so you won't have to go through each of the trades.
Okay, anything else on the schedule?
No, I don't think so.
Action on submitted invoices.
We have 6 invoices. 3 for each project.
Is there a motion to accept invoice 47791, Tecton Architects, architectural services for the new Norton Elementary School?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Okay. Second, is there a motion to accept invoice number 4 from O&G Industries for construction services, amount of $113,688.52?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Okay, invoice number 344-74954, owner's representation services to Arcadis, $1,246.14 for the new Norton Elementary School. Second, or motion? Second. All in favor, or any discussion? No. All in favor? Opposed? No. Unanimous? Okay, motion to accept Tecton Architects invoice number 47790, architectural services, New North End Elementary School, $61,004. Is there a motion to accept? Okay.
Go
I'll-
because I'm-
Okay, second, yeah. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, next invoice number 4 to O&G Industries for construction services, New North End Elementary School, amount of $24,682.74. Motion, okay, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, the last one, invoice number 344-74934, owner's representative services to Arcadis, amount of $1,246.14 for the new North End School. Motion, second?
Sure.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Action recommendation on change orders, if any.
So, Mr. Chairman, there are no change orders to be presented tonight, but I would like to have the discussion on the surge protection panel that Ryan brought to your attention earlier this evening. It is not a change order to the contract, as O&G indicated they're going to handle it through the allowance that they're carrying in their GMP. But I thought it would be worthwhile for the committee to at least have a discussion and act on it, because this does change the contract in the sense that it's not an adjustment, as Justin had indicated, for some of the other panel items. This was something that was requested by a building committee member to investigate, and I think now that we have a number, it should be discussed and then and then voted on.
Great, okay.
So there are one each for each school, and they're the same price. It is $7,350.75. That will be taken from the allowance for both Phase 1 projects. And if you want to, go ahead.
So let me I would like to just clarify one thing. So the proposal here was if it was, they submitted it as if it was a change. We've already carried the OH&P on the allowance in what they billed, so we would only be paying, utilizing $6,682.50 of their allowance. We round up everything, so it would be $6,683 coming out of the $20,000 allowance that we have carried in A&R's contract for both schools. So each school has a $20,000 allowance. This would leave us a little more than $13,000 for any additional costs that came up based on the Phase 2 documents, the minor changes to the electrical and the Phase 2 documents. So just to be clear on that, we don't pay overhead and profit twice on allowances. You've already incorporated that in their contract originally.
When will we know, like, how much of the rest of the 20,000 we need for the
By your next meeting.
Yeah. I think
so
we
the next
have
meeting
that.
is when we approve it all, we'll know if it's 20,000 or a little bit more, whatever it is.
So the way we handle allowances is that if we were to exceed the 20,000, we would use up to that 20,000, and then anything over that 20,000 would become either a CM contingency change or an owner contingency change. That's portion, say it was a total of 25,000 cost, the $5,000 would be the only portion that they would be entitled to OH&P on, and then we would do a straight change order for that portion.
But we'll know that at the next
It's
meeting.
the final account.
Final
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we'll reconcile that allowance then.
So do you want us to authorize the additional payment of the $6,683 now, is that?
So, yeah, the question is
Right.
in order to move this forward and get them proceeding with, this portion of the addition to the panels, if this committee is going to entertain this and they want to move forward with this, we would look for authorization tonight on this.
Which leaves like 7,000 in that, out of the 20,000.
13.5, because this is 20,000 for each school.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's only
got it.
almost, 6683
Per
of
school.
the 20.
Okay.
So you'll have 13,000 and change left in each allowance.
Mr. Chairman, you've already authorized the expenditure because you voted on the GMP. This is actually just voting on accepting the change
okay.
for the surge protector.
Right.
So, question, because the devil's in the details. The quote from Graybar has already expired.
So I spoke with them today, and they are holding their number. They are accepting this. They're looking for us to give them direction, so they are holding this change order.
Okay. And the pricing from Graybar has been whited out?
So we have reviewed, I've sent it to the design team, there were some questions they asked for a breakout. Snyder and Square D will not provide that, they only provide you a lump sum price.
I
They
get
provide
that,
total
but
cost.
it's not even,
Correct, yep. So that is this is how they do their submissions to us.
so how did A&R arrive at the 668,250?
It was a verbal number that they gave to them.
Must be nice.
I mean, I did reach out at the request of the design team and asked them to provide a full breakout today, and their response was is they will not provide one. They don't do it for any of their projects, but they give a total price for any changes to to their systems.
Can you remind me what's the total cost for the gear for each ballpark?
We don't have the total contract value.
Yeah, I don't have that off the top of my
That's
head.
on the schedule of values for the
It's
top.
like, who ends up paying?
Well, that's on my order of magnitude.
Yeah.
Are we 100,000, are we 500,000, or 2 million?
Between 6 and 700,000 is my recollection.
This comes down to like 1% of the
Yeah,
gear
I mean,
for each job. That's what I'm,
It's in A&R's schedule that.
What's the percentage of cost of the acoustical ceiling?
so it's like around 5.
No, I mean, in my mind, this
We
is
gotta bring Sarah to more of a building.
worthwhile insurance. I mean, the cost
Sorry, until it's the end of the year.
of a light pole is gonna be more than $7,000.
In
If
labor.
it's hit by lightning.
True.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the additional charge of the $6,683 per school for the surge protectors?
So
Second?
we should, school at a time?
I was going to do it, okay.
Yeah, so for Norton School.
Okay, second for Norton School. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, unanimous. I'll make the motion. Dennis,
Make
for
the
North End.
motion for the New North End School for $6,683 for surge protection to be included in the electrical panel.
Okay. Second, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thanks.
7.4%.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a little bit more than one.
It's a lot more.
One, yeah. Okay, owner's rep budget discussion?
Yep, so you took action here tonight on a number of packages, and it'll start moving the needle on encumbered amounts. Currently, on the North End project, you have about 11% committed on your overall budget, and on the Norton project, it is 12%. So you're going to start seeing the needle move pretty quickly now as we start encumbering these values. We won't see the change in this spreadsheet until it goes through the town system.
I'm good, I'm fine.
So you'll start seeing the needle move. You won't see it actually on this spreadsheet until it goes through the town system. So town will sign it, and then a purchase order will be issued to revise ONG's contract, and so it'll start to get into the system, and that's when Emily will then input the values into this spreadsheet.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on the budget? Moving along. Open item log update.
Two items on the open item log. One is the builder's risk insurance policy. I've worked with Vin on getting this put together. There was some information that he was asking for earlier in the month. We got him that information, and I spoke to Vin this morning. Vin did confirm that the broker has the information,
They don't have any more questions, and so now it's in process. So we're going to close this open item.
Great. Any questions on the open item?
Oh, and I'm sorry, and then the other open item is the parking.
Yep.
Yeah, so, we do have the date in here of June 1st, 2026, so we will be tracking that. This will stay on the open item for that amount of time. As we get closer, we'll start to reevaluate whether or not, you will put in a temporary parking lot, or if it might be cheaper just to shuttle in total everybody, so.
Okay. Any contract amendments?
No contract amendments.
Okay. Anything else for good and order? Nope. And motion to adjourn? Okay, second? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, thank you very much.
I was,